Good morning, everyone. Happy Wednesday. Happy and also known as Happy Hump Day. Hope you're having a lovely week so far. Today, whilst I generally talk about upcoming games, reviewing past games, I'd like to take a moment to talk about when supporting a team in AFL, or if you're going to support a team, what are some of the things you got to look into, and not only their history. As you all know, I'm a Saints supporter. Here it is. I'd like to first talk about my journey when I started supporting the Saints. It was in 1998. Okay, 1998. At the time, my knowledge to football was quite ignorant. I was trying to get used to the game, trying to understand which player plays for which team. But I was able to pick a team, and that happened to be St Kilda. And how that all started was this. I was living in Berwick at the time, in my primary school days. And we were very fortunate to be notified about a visit by football greats Stuart Lowe, St Kilda, Jason Dunstall from the Hawthorn Hawks, and Anthony Koutoufides from the Carlton Blues, who came to visit Baker's Delight at the time. I think Baker's Delight was just about to be open in Berwick. They came to give a talk to the young kids and their families, plus they were very kind enough to give autographs at the end. I was very fortunate to get autographs of all three great players, but Stuart Lowe was the first to sign my ball. And St Kilda was the only team I knew about a little bit more than other teams, so I decided to go for them. Not knowing their history, not knowing many players except Stuart Lowe at the time. I guess it was from 1999 till 2000 when we did football tipping at my school. I got to follow the club even more with their weekly games, where they were going, who played in their team, their senior players. And the footy tipping gave me an idea of how the Saints were going in that era, especially in the year 2000. St Kilda were a last placed finishing team in 2000. They finished last for the Wooden Spoon. Mind you, I didn't even know what the Wooden Spoon meant till then. Till a friend of ours said, look, it's a team who finishes last. I'm like, okay, great. Good to know. But it didn't waver my mind about them, because following such a club gave me a chance to see football greats like Robert Harvey, Nathan Burke, Peter Everett, Andrew Thompson, Stuart Lowe, Barry Hall play. And the way they went about their game was great. Even though St Kilda finished last, it was such a delight to see them. And I was looking forward to seeing them take the field every week. Okay? One thing about supporting St Kilda, it taught me a lot of things, not only about the club, but about life. One key thing that it taught me was about heartbreak and how to embrace it. Not only with the team, but in life. Because if you can embrace heartbreak, it'll make you a stronger person. You can take on anything in life. It made me feel a stronger person. Mind you, when I was in 2000, I was doing my middle school. I was not even a teenager. Okay, I had to put up with a lot of losses in the St Kilda in the week in, week out. I used to get so frustrated. And I used to think, geez, do I know what I'm doing when I'm supporting a team? But I realised, even though I was young, this is not going to be forever. It's just probably that patch or that phase they're going through, that they're losing a lot of games, they're going to either transition. But I didn't know what rebuilding a club meant then. I knew nothing except those players, and that we kept losing, mind you. I used to see a lot of heartbreaking scenes. One clip that will always stick in my mind, even now, was when I had my birthday party in 2000. I invited all my schoolmates. On that evening, after the party was over, I got dashed home. Okay, after saying bye and thanking all my friends for coming. We were down by 12 points at halftime against Bulldogs in round 9 2000. Mind you, St Kilda hadn't won a game till then. I switched on the TV, the third quarter just started. And that was probably the best 30 minutes of my life during that season, because St Kilda really showed that they were capable of winning a game. They were 31 points up, from 12 points down to 31 points up at three-quarter time. I thought, gee, this is looking good for a first win of their season. Only to be pipped or clipped, should I say, by the Bulldogs with the margin of 1 point. Okay? 105 to 104, I think the score was. This was after St Kilda leading by 31 points. They capitulated to a 1 point loss. I'm like, oh dear, not again. And they still ended up being winless for a few more rounds before they conjured the first win. One clip that will always stick in my mind that I still have memories of seeing was a good, serviceable, great gentleman who was a defender of our team, Max Hudson, wore number 8 for our Guernsey. This was Max Hutchinson at the final siren when we capitulated to the Bulldogs, mind you. Okay, I will play the clip right now, so I'll just take a minute to share the screen. Okay, sorry. Just take a minute to share the script. Okay. All right, I'll just take a minute. This is on Zoom, so I'm just need some time to share the screen. Okay. Alrighty. So here's the clip. Here's Max Hutchinson after the 1-point loss. This is what I had. These are some of the scenes I had to see when I was a young boy, mind you.
He's played 59 consecutive games for this club. Hasn't missed a game for 3 seasons, and they've won 3 out of their last 21.
That is just raw human emotion. There is no better endorsement for a player's love for his club and his jumper and his teammates than that right there.
Now he's getting rid of the evidence.
Yep, he's just disguising it now.
Okay. There was a grown-up gentleman who felt the 1-point loss, not only for himself, but for the club. That's how much the losses meant to players those days. And these were some of the scenes I had to see after a game as a St Kilda supporter. But I didn't mind it because 4 years later, we became such a formidable side under Grant Thomas, who was our new coach. During this 2000, this was the last year of Tim Watson coaching us, the father of Job Essendon, former captain Job Watson. And 4 years later, we became a very good team under Grant Thomas, and then followed by Ross Lyon from 2007 to 2011. 2004 to 2011 was my favourite period of watching the Saints. And I'm looking forward to seeing the current team get back to that over some time. Great time to follow the Saints, okay? Grant Thomas, I really salute to him, big time. Because if it wasn't for him, St Kilda wouldn't have had that exciting era to watch. Forget about flags. When he came, remember, end of 2001 or middle of 2001, St Kilda was still in the bottom. They were just picking up from where they left in 2000. They lost Barry Hall in the trade, got guys like Fraser Gehrig, Nick Riewoldt, Lenny Hayes, Brendan Goddard, Justin Kazitsky, Nick Del Santo, Stephen Milne, Joey Montagna, Lee Montagna, known as Joey in the AFL, who became mainstays of the next decade or so for St Kilda. We were still in the bottom. Okay, 2002 wasn't easier. We became bottom. We became more inexperienced because we got more youngsters. Exciting youngsters, mind you, talented youngsters. 2003, we fell short of playing finals, and 2004, our good run of making it into top 4 to top 8 started. And I really salute Grant Thomas and the players we had. They were such an exciting prospect to watch back then. And to be honest with you, as interesting as this sounds, if it wasn't for these heartbreaking days, I don't think we would have got this far. Because the moment we started becoming good and formidable to watch, for me personally, I always thought about our hard days as a club, what we went through with performance. Okay, and it's not just with following a club. When it's anything in life, they always say when the going gets tough, the tough gets going, right? Well, same here. It's your hard days that drive you here more than your easy days, to be honest. And it was the hard days back in the early 2000s that made St Kilda so good, and it was worthwhile. It was a good ride of following the club because I got to see their tough times and their amazing times. All about, welcome aboard, enjoy the ride. And that's what it was for me. And that's what it still is for me, okay? We pick a team, it's like a package deal. Got to take what comes with it. Stick with them. Because as the saying goes, if you can't handle a team where they're going through crisis or tough, you don't deserve to be with them when they're at their best. And as the saying goes, the wheel of fortune doesn't stay. It keeps changing. And it did change for St Kilda then. It really did. And I can foresee it changing now under Ross Lyon. Just got to give it some time, okay? A lot of teams in that era went through some fire and they ended up becoming so good. I mean, Geelong weren't that scary in early 2000s compared to what they are now. But we all stick with the team. And the other thing, ladies and gentlemen, when I support the Saints, it's not just about the flag history. I didn't know till later that they didn't win many flags, but that didn't waver my mind at all. It was about the culture of the club, the greats we had, the colour, their theme song, the other factors that influenced me to stick with them. Okay, it's not just their flags. And I think that's the most important aspects to look at when you're supporting a club. Don't just worry about the flags, the culture, the unity of the supporters. There's much more. Because if you're only looking at flag history, that means it's great. I understand it's about winning flags and titles, but that's where the broad thinking needs to come into play. Okay, that's where broad thinking has to come into play. It's about everything in the club. And I know St Kilda has a home ground of Marvel Stadium, which went through a lot of name changes. Colonial Stadium, it was first called, Telstra Dome, Etihad Stadium, and now Marvel. That stadium, for those who don't know, takes only half the capacity of the MCG. MCG takes about 102,000-ish. This takes about 53,000. And if you're a St Kilda player or supporter, most of the time you'll be seeing games at Marvel, which is a smaller ground. But that's not it. It's not a be-all, end-all, just because it's at Marvel. Yes, playing in front of big crowds in the MCG is a great thing, especially in finals. But that's not the only criteria you pick to support a club. If that was the case, then there shouldn't be many supporters for Geelong. Because Geelong is another club whose home ground is in a home ground where the capacity is even smaller than Marvel Stadium. I think Skills Stadium, Geelong's home ground, or GMHBA, it's called now, takes about 15,000. It's down the highway in Geelong. They play in a much smaller ground. But that's not the point. They're such a good club. A lot of players still go to Geelong. Recently was Bailey Smith. Before that, we had guys like Jeremy Cameron, Pat Dangerfield, Jack Martin from Carlton going to Geelong. A lot of players go. Reece Stanley went from St Kilda to Geelong. They know they were going to play in a smaller ground. It's not that these players don't know. They knew that. But that's not it. It's not a be-all, end-all. Because Geelong is a good club with a good culture, good supporter base, and that's all there is to it. Okay? One thing with supporting St Kilda, it taught me a lot about life. One of the things was heartbreak, embracing tough times, and be humble about the good times too. Because like I said, if it wasn't for our tough times, we wouldn't be having these good times. And that's what it taught me. Stay united, be as loyal as you can, be patient. There's a saying, good things come to those who wait. That's the same thing when you support St Kilda. Be patient as you can. I know we've had staff success. I know we can't wait to lift the club. We as supporters are dying to see it. I get it. I get all that. But patience personified is important. Because out of all the supporter bases, 3 supporter bases I have my admiration for the way they conduct themselves in the stadiums, and they're not known to get into any unruly behaviour, are the Saints supporters, Bulldog supporters, and Melbourne supporters. These are 3 clubs that know what heartbreak means. Other clubs do, I'm not saying they don't, but these 3 clubs have faced it a lot, especially Melbourne, from that 2011 till 2017 period, or 2014 period, I should say. Their supporters are so well behaved, they're so grateful to hard days, they don't get carried away, they're so humble. Okay? Mind you, even when they won the flag in 2021, they didn't get carried away. They're still so humble. How do I know this? Because I have a Twitter account. I see a lot of their comments. They don't get carried away at all. It's pretty obvious. Same with the Bulldogs. Bulldogs are a very supporter bases are very well respected, very well behaved. Never get carried away. Mind you, their home ground is Marvel Stadium. Most Bulldog supporters only see games at Marvel. All right? But that doesn't matter. They've got some good players. They're a very good side now. It doesn't matter. It's not just about the flag history. Bulldogs have not won as many flags. Same with Melbourne. Both clubs haven't won as many flags as clubs like Essendon, Carlton, Collingwood. But that's not the only thing. Okay? There are other driving factors, like as I said, club culture, value system of the club, the greats. There are so many other things. And St Kilda, for me, has taught me about heartbreak, unity. It also taught me another big thing in life. Nothing to lose attitude. So what if we haven't won many flags? Whatever we do out there, we have nothing to lose. But people say what they want. I mean, you could be a big club and still be problematic. You could be a big club who plays in big crowds and have issues. We're seeing what Carlton are going through now. Everyone's on them. Okay, I don't want to go into the details because I think we're all aware of it, especially the AFL followers. Essendon, another big club. Yes, their home ground is Marvel, but they've got a big history. We saw what controversy they got into in 2013 with the Asada. I'm not here to comment about that in detail. But since then, the impression about that club has changed from a lot of supporters outside. So, what's the point? You're a big club, but you got into this sort of controversy. So, the magnitude of the club should never weigh in. Doesn't matter. Another example, GWS. Everyone loves GWS the way they play. They haven't won a flag, and they had their chance against Richmond in the 2019 Grand Final. I know of some celebrities who support GWS. Mitchell Starc, famous Australian cricketer. He's a fast bowler. He and his wife, I think who's the captain of the Australian women's cricket team, Alicia. They both love GWS. And mind you, they love a team who hasn't won a flag yet. But that's not everything. just because they like it, that doesn't make Mitchell Stark or Alicia any less. They're entitled to support who they like. And GWS are a very formidable side. They haven't won a flag. But everyone's always onto, oh, Toby Green, you know, oh, Toby Bedford, oh, Kieran Briggs, Sam Taylor, Jesse Hogan, Jake Stringer, Aaron Cadman. Everyone is always so excited when these names come up. But, yes, it's good to be excited, but you do realise these are names of a club who have not won a flag yet. So that's what flag history means nothing. It's a great thing. The more flags you win, the better. I get that. But that doesn't dictate the respect the club gets in today's world, because it's all about now onwards. Okay? That's it. And my view is, whilst we have choices to support a club, no club is to be looked down upon, especially based on their flag history. Now, everyone's giving Fremantle a chance to play finals this year. This is a club that's won 0 flags, but they're being respected for their midfield. They've got guys like Andrew Brayshaw, Caleb Sarong. Their backline is good by Alex Pearce and guys like Hayden Young. What's his name? Brandon Walker, Brendan Cox, etc. They've got a good forward line. With Michael Frederick, Josh Tracy, JMS. This is a club that's not won any flags, but they command respect. So, no club, in my opinion, is to be looked down upon in that regards. I'm not saying you all are, but this is just my view. West Coast, they're going through a rough patch with their form, but their supporters still turn up. Their supporters know where they're at, and that's okay. That's okay. They're not a bad club just because they're on the bottom. It's going to turn. It just means, as Ross Lyon was saying, some clubs take more traction to develop, some take quicker, each to their own. Everyone is on to Hawthorn now. Mind you, Hawthorn were a club just not long ago who were bottom 4, and everyone's talking them up now. That's fine. There you go. So we're kind of answering our own questions, about these teams. And, so many supporters are supporting clubs that haven't won many flags. So there you go. Winning flags is not everything, guys. If that was the case, I want to ask you all one valid question. Collingwood have won the most flags, equal with Carlton and Nelson, I think 16 flags. Why are their supporters being hated a lot? Can I ask that? There you go. Here's a club that's won 16 flags, but their supporters are not being liked. The club doesn't get liked. You might have your own thoughts about this, and that's fine. But there you go. So what? It's not about the flags. There's more to it with their supporters being hated towards. So that's all I needed to say in this video. Life is much more about flag history and other metrics. You can love a club for other reasons. If everything was flag history for me, I wouldn't be supporting this club. And I'm still with them. And I'm looking forward to seeing what comes with them. Because that's a sign of a loyal supporter. And, supporting such clubs tell you a lot about life. And I owe it to St Kilda St Kilda Football Club for making me a stronger person in what I do. Not taking anything lying down. Nothing to give or take. Nothing to lose. It teaches you a lot about life, as I said. And that's the beauty. You're not supporting a club just to support the club in the sport. Sometimes supporting a club helps you put perspective in real life. And that's great. And I couldn't thank St Kilda Football Club more enough for that. If it wasn't supporting this club, I don't think I would have learnt many lessons myself. Yeah, you have your families to teach you about heartbreak, embracing, but when you go out there and support a sport, you get another perspective of things like heartbreak, being humble, staying united. So it's really great. All right, I'll wrap it up here. Comment your thoughts. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't, and feel free to circulate the channel to others who might be interested. I'll be more than happy for that to happen. And my next video will be tomorrow, where I'll do a preview of the Sydney game on Sunday at Marvel Stadium. Till then, take care, stay safe, stay dry, and I'll speak to you all tomorrow. Bye-bye.